Welcome to the Innovate Podcast, a place for auction business owners who have built successful operations but now want to scale their companies and leave a lasting legacy in the industry. If you want more growth, less grind, you've come to the right place.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Innovate Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about marketplace instability, a hidden risk among many auction companies. As we know, there are many different types of risks in a business, some of which you can easily mitigate, some that are not, some that are just core to the business, core to reality. But there is a story out there that you can go read about. Literally, you can open up the news and find this story. It is happening. There's a big thing that happened yesterday, February 2nd, where some companies are arguing about their value. One is wanting to take over this company. One is rejecting this offer. And the ramifications of that as a user, as a client of these businesses is something that you should be aware of, because when you're on this, some of these platforms, what happens with them as businesses affects you too. So that's where we're going with this short show. Jodi, I want to turn it to you. Tell us a little bit more of what's going on and why this matters to you, why this matters to our listeners.
Thank you, Brandon. It is it's not gossip. There's marketplace happenings going on without just being too direct. But it's something that we talk about a lot, Brandon, on this channel, because I really believe in, as business people, we need to look at our risk. I mean, even as individuals, we buy insurance for our cars. We buy insurance for our homes. We try to look at risk the best that we can and prepare the best that we can. And marketplaces are businesses too. They have people to answer to. They have investors, and they should answer to them. You know, it's people. It's money, just like we look at our money. I reconcile. Well, I don't always reconcile my check, but you know what I'm saying. I'm responsible for my own money. I don't have other people dabbling in it, so that's a good thing. But I guess my point about this news is that we really shouldn't be surprised by it. But it is a great reminder that we need to look at risk inside of our own businesses. And so my question to our audience is, do you have a single point of failure in your business? I think about COVID. You know, no one in the world would have ever thought about COVID and going, okay, what if I'm not allowed to have people come to my office? How would my business interact? Yeah. Or back in the day, whenever I was having a lot of live auctions and I had to have computers and, generator power may even take a little while too, I had to think of a paper plan. We had to be prepared for power outages. What is your strategy? What is your safety plan? What if the marketplace goes away today? How does that impact your business? What if they double their cost today? How does that impact your business? All of those things, we've already talked about it, but this just made me want to emphasize it even more, that I could go on, but I'm gonna let you talk because I know we're here. This is what we want to continue to share and advise companies and be advisors to help you look at risk. If you don't know what it is, then we want to help you take a look at that.
Yeah, that's right. When you run a digital business, there's always going to be things that you can't control. There's going to be like, what was it, a couple of months ago, was like Cloudflare, this giant, service provider on the internet went down, and it shut down billions of dollars worth of capital for that day or whatever. And it was Amazon's AWS before that. And then I just heard 2 weeks ago, Google and Microsoft, both of their inboxes went down within a 48-hour period and affected deliverability on a bunch of stuff. So there's always going to be stuff that you can't control, and that's just going to happen. That's the case in physical businesses, not just digital businesses.
Yeah,
but
you could have unlimited money and the top-notch products and still have problems. That happens.
Yeah, absolutely. But there are other things that you actually can control. And so we've talked about this, like, if you're on a marketplace, there are benefits to that, but there's these risks and there's those things
That's right.
that's part of that infrastructure that you can't control, right? So
Right.
what does an auction company do knowing that this marketplace that they're on could potentially be a risk that they can control and can change?
Right.
What do you advise them to do? I mean, what do we think about with this news that has come out? And I know we're being a little bit vague, but with the risks that come with marketplaces, what do you do? I mean, what's the next step?
Yeah, I think one of the first things to do is look at your risk. What is it for you? Every company is different. Are 100% of your buyers coming from the marketplace? Are 20% of your buyers coming from the marketplace? What is your cost? Have they offered you a backup plan as to what happens if they go out of business? Any business, even mine, can be purchased and acquisition and all of those things can happen. But how does it impact your business? When if you were to have a roommate at your house, you would want to know about that person. Like, what happens, when you have taken your core business, your paycheck, and you are sharing it with you are partnered with someone else. What does that relationship look like? And so what is it, if you need to get out of that relationship, what are the terms to do that? What is the cost in that partnership? So I truly believe, and I am not anti-marketplace, but I think that we need to look at the restrictions, the limitations, the rewards, the risk, all of it, because there's advantages and there's disadvantages. And so what we've been trying to talk about is just having a strategy, not leaving the marketplace, but having a strategy on owning your business data.
How do you see yourself fitting into this story? So you've got these marketplaces, you've got the clients. Like, what is your difference? How do you help the buyer kind of wrap their mind around, like, where you fit into this story? Because it's a dramatic story if you read about it. So how do you put yourself in that story?
And there's been gossip and hearsay and all these things for a long time, and I honestly, I don't enjoy that stuff. Like, when people tell me those kinds of things, I go, if it's not real, like, I don't even, my brain can't hold all that stuff. So I'm a logic person, believe it or not. But I just think I'm very analytical when it comes to where money comes from and what's the ROI on it. So I believe that these auction companies and what Innovate, the reason why we started Innovate was what I ended up tagging brand independence, is that to me, as a business, you want to own that buyer relationship from beginning to end. And you're paying for advertising, you're building that reputation. You're the one out there chasing all that consignor business. You're the one shaking that consignor's hand saying, I'm going to take care of you. You are the one that needs to make sure that buyers get there. Yes, the marketplace helps you, but if you just direct all that traffic to the marketplace, you could direct that traffic just to you, to your business, and be in control, or at least majority control, of that buyer relationship. And you're protecting your brand. If they shut off their power tomorrow, or whatever happens with anybody, whether it's any company, that you feel like you have a safety plan. So we have to analyze it and look at risk. I think that's what I overall say, is that we all know this. And we've all made a lot of money off of the marketplace, that the buyers that come to us from marketplace, we've made enough money. However, 80%, I know that number is a solid number. And not in all industries, but in a lot of industries, the common number is 80% of your buyers are return buyers. And if they're coming through the marketplace, that's a lot of money. If you offered me that kind of money, I would be investigating it.
Yep. No, it makes sense. I've told this story before, but I was on a newsletter platform called Substack, and they just shut me down. And I couldn't, thank God that's not where my income came from,
Right.
But it just shut me off, like, totally without warning, nothing. And there was nothing I could do. And so I ended up switching to a more independent platform myself. because I'm now able to control that data, control the systems that go into it, what I say. I can export those contacts if I want and go somewhere else. Like that stuff became really, really real to me. And I've heard other similar folks do that on other kind of platforms, big names out there. But it happens.
Yeah, and like full disclosure, before this conversation today, Brandon and I are talking about marketing for Innovate. Sorry to throw you under the bus. Here we go. You never know what I'm going to say. But we're going to pay him XYZ, to do some marketing stuff for us. And I told him, that's great, but I want a direct connection to all of my leads. I want to see all of my leads. I'm paying you. I want the leads. So, and because I want to own that relationship. When they hit the button because they're interested in Innovate, I want to be picking up the phone, calling anybody that wants to talk to me. So,
that's right.
But that's how I think about all of these auction companies. Like, you're paying for my hard work and the brand that I'm building and your brand, most people's brands are through the inventory descriptions that they're building. You're spending countless hours photoing, writing up videos, doing all that kind of stuff. And then you're uploading it to the marketplace. I did it for so long. I understand the why, but you can do that for yourself as well.
That's right. And when one of us is ready to retire to the Bahamas, we can just part ways and we own everything and we just keep moving.
Yeah. Or you can just set up that little Tahiti, thingy, and you can just upload pictures right there from the beach.
That's right.
Like you can do it from anywhere. That future. Yeah, I am so ready.
That's right. That's right. Okay, Jodi, thank you so much. I love this story. We were talking about it last week because it was kind of an ongoing, dramatic kind of conclusion. I think the conclusion was yesterday. And so I'm glad that we're able to chat about this because it really brought to bear, like, this is what we've been talking about for months, what you've been talking about for years. And so I'm glad we're able to talk about this because I think it's just a kind of a fascinating, like, real world scenario, what we've been talking about.
Yes, and I think overall, we're not just trying to plant fear out there. It is a reality, and I think the takeaway from today is just start figuring it out and build your primary channel that is directed towards your business, and keep your marketplace as your secondary channel. And if you need help, we're here to help you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Amen. Well, Jodi, thank you. I'm excited for our next show, and
yes, thank you. All right, bye.